is currently trading at 82,500 US dollar. We will look into possible scenarios for Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you find my content valuable, I would really appreciate a like for my work and consider subscribing if you want daily updates. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. I have a separate video analyzing several altcoins on my channel if you are interested in that kind of analysis. Let's get to Bitcoin. So basically Bitcoin didn't do any price movement to the upside, instead we did newer lows. Since I don't see any chart pattern, we have to look into the RSI. So what I would say here is, I think that we are in a triangle where we also have a bullish divergent, as you can see, a lower low in the RSI, a low here, a higher high in the RSI, and a lower low in the chart. So that's a bullish divergence, which is pretty good and bullish for sure, but I want to see the breakout. It looks like that we might break it out in a few hours. I want to see the RSI going over 36, even 37 would be better, 38. Then we can think about a correction to the upside, means this was just a downtrend. Then we get a correction, and after that, another dip. So basically, the target is still ongoing of the rising wedge. The target is 79,000. So still, Bitcoin is short to me at the moment. Once we break the $83,160 to the upside, then I would consider closing my short position, because after that, I think we get all those fair value gaps closed. And maybe here we can track another short opportunity when the price, for example, moves like this. And then we can draw a trend line later for the next short. On the 4-hour chart, we can see in the RSI that we don't have a bullish divergence yet. Means we have to build one. Means that would mean that we might see a newer low in the price from Bitcoin. Means, as we said before, we get a higher high in the RSI, but after that we get a lower low in the chart. Yeah, we have to see that, we have to look for it, but on the 1-hour chart it looks good to me, and if we break the 37 to the upside in the RSI, then I would say we can think about higher prices. Also keep in mind, if we go into the 8-hour chart, that the long-term price target of Bitcoin is actually $69,570. Why that? Because we have tracked a double top pattern, which broke to the downside. And the usual target of that double top pattern is the spread from the support to the top. And then we just put it to the breakout point, and as we can see, 69,600 US dollar. I think that's our long-term target. For now, I would look for the 80k. Why the 80k? Because our rising wedge is telling us, okay, the typical target would be 79,000 US dollar. What I saw so far with chart patterns is that the targets of the chart pattern are, very good. I think we can use it as orientation, but we also have to look for fair value gaps and support and resistance. And we have good support at 80,000 US dollar. So let's talk about Ethereum. So basically what I have tracked for Ethereum is, okay, let's go into the 1-hour chart first. So basically, I need to zoom in. So I don't see any chart patterns on the 1-hour chart. Yeah, beside the bearish one, yeah, which broke to the downside. Means my target for that is still 1.5k to 1.6k. And if we go into the 8-hour chart, now we need the daily, then we can see the only support which we have lower than 1.8k would be the 1,750 US dollar. But the issue here is that we have a huge fair value gap here. Means a lot of liquidity in that area. And most likely fair value gaps will get close. If not now, in this downside trend, then in the next bear market. Yeah, so keep that in mind. What I have tracked also on the bigger time frame is, let's go into the 4-hour chart, that we might just have a huge rising wedge. No, sorry, falling wedge. That's a falling wedge. I have marked it orange for you. Where we have 3 touch points to the upside. 1, 2, and 3. So that trend line is valid. We always say a valid trend line is when we have more than 3 touch points. To the downside, we just have 2 touch points, but it's enough because those 2 touch points are heading to 1.5k. And we don't even have to touch the trend line to the downside. It's okay if we don't do it. But it actually fits to me. It looks very good to me. And I think that if the falling wedge breaks to the upside, then the target would be 3,290 US dollar. But since I said resistance is also important to look for, we have huge resistance at $2,870, but also a nice fair value gap up to $3,040, where we also have the bull market support band, which will also be resistance. So let's switch to the 1-hour chart and look for the RSI. So in the RSI, we can also see that we have a bullish divergence. We have a higher high in the RSI and a lower low in the chart. And we also held good support at 1.8k. But if we lose it, we don't have anything below us which can help us as support. So how would I trade it? First of all, the bullish divergence is valid once we break the 45 in the RSI to the upside. If we do, then it would be a nice indication. If you remember what I have said yesterday is, I had this white trend line and I have said I don't actually want to take a trade there, but it's still worth it to try. We broke that to the upside, but what I have said is we have to break the 1.9k and $18. This resistance to the upside, and then I would be ready to put more money into my trade. So I just took a small trade, long trade. We got up, but we got rejected near to $1,918, and we got lower than those lows here. So that was my indication to leave the trade and look for new opportunities. So for now, it looks, yeah, I would say I can expect a correction movement to the upside, where we can say, okay, this trend line is very sharp, but if we break that to the upside, then I would be ready to close my short for Ethereum. That would be currently at $1,840. If we break that to the upside, then I would close my short position, because after that I think the chances are very high that we might see the area between $1,940 up to $1,986. And yeah, here we have to see, are we going to break the falling wedge to the upside and go for a nice push, or will we get a lower low down to 1.5k? Yeah, that's a very interesting question. We can't tell it yet unless we see the chart development. So, thank you for watching. If I gave you valuable information, I would appreciate if you click the like button, and if you are interested in daily updates, feel free to subscribe me. Have a nice day with huge gains. See you.